Hey everybody, Alex here, Out of the Park 23, Pittsburgh Pirates franchise episode number 22, and we are getting ready for the start of the 2029 MLB regular season. Let's talk about what the Pirates have done over the offseason. And given our tight financial situation, our payroll for the year sitting at just $74.4 million, and we're basically right up against it. It was a year of contract shedding, and obviously really never bringing in too many big free agents, but we'll bring in a couple that we'll talk about here in a second. But we did do some contract shedding, and as I kind of had mentioned and really anticipated in the last video, that Nick Gonzalez is no longer a Pittsburgh Pirate. He was arbitration eligible, earning $8.25 million with declining defense. A good but not great bat. It just was not worth it. Really could not afford that. Is a captain, and so that's going to hurt the clubhouse. But we traded him away, and so I'll show you guys the return. We got 3 players back for Nick Gonzalez. He went to the Minnesota Twins, if you didn't catch that before. A reliever who will start off in the minor leagues. He's got some borderline starter stuff, but with that third pitch, not great and low stamina. He'll be a bullpen, hopefully ace for us. That's Brandon Clark. Was down there starting in AAA for the Twins last year. Was a bit below average, and so we'll probably like him more in the bullpen, but power pitcher, our type of guy. The big guy we got that will help right now is Rafael Feliz. It's going to be another really strong reliever, and that's good. We had some losses there in the offseason in terms of our bullpen. Some injuries that did occur as well, and so to get him, I think it's going to be really important. Now, the ERA doesn't look great, but the ERA plus was 106 last year. I think some of the advanced metrics showed him to be a little unlucky with how things ended up splitting out. Let me see if I can find, Sierra 3.5, a FIP of 3.43. Those are really strong numbers, and so we're going to project a bounce back from there. But another pretty, hard-throwing type of reliever who's cheap, under team control, and so a guy that I really wanted to bring in. And finally, just a tack on here, outfielder Rolando Rum, just as an addition. Who knows if he's ever going to make it to the majors, but a good arm. Looks like he's got a pretty good eye in terms of the avoid K ability, and so just an additional add-on there. Some other trades we made, really trying to deal with the salaries here. Brock Wilken, who we traded for pretty high on a while back, but he just never materialized for us, struck out too much. The average didn't play too well, and so he's going to be in a hitter-friendly stadium in New York. I think that makes sense for the home run power that he has. And so in return, what do we even get back for him? A couple guys. I ended up trading over a couple of players there to get this guy that I've had an eye on for a while, Isaiah Salisbury. A really good-looking, shortstop, still 21. He's a couple years away, but the gap power, the contact's going to play well, and he's got solid range, especially over there at third. And so with Ke'Bryan Hayes getting older, I like this one as a potential future replacement. And one last trade of note here from our Major League roster, that is Alec Marsh, who was not incredibly expensive, but freed up a bit of space here, and our pitching rotation looks pretty strong overall, and so he goes to Toronto. 1-for-1 player deal, getting Rowan Kelly, I should say. He was in spring training with us, and he will start the year in AAA at 23 years old. Really good numbers overall. You see it in high A, double A. Not a ton of at-bats overall. He's kind of moved up quickly through the system, but do like his game overall. That bat is playing better than what some of these metrics may suggest. We'll take a look at the roster here for opening day and talk about some additions that we have here. But frankly, in terms of new people that were added in the offseason to be part of this lineup or bench options, there's really nobody here. It's relying on the guys of last year. So we'll go through the starters, and Renee Lasters, who we traded over last year from Washington, he's going to start the year as our catcher. Had a really strong year in Double A. I know that contact is low, but I think this guy's going to sim well. Good leader, really good defensively. He's going to hit for power. The average is going to be, 210, but if you hit 210 with 15 home runs as a catcher in this game, not being an elite guy, I'm good with that. And so Lasters will get the shot. Looking for a bounce back year from Delphin Ramirez, who won Rookie of the Year back in 2027. Had some injuries and really did not hit all that well in 28, although still hit 18 home runs in just over 100 games. Ricardo Cabrera, former Rule 5 pick 2 years ago, struggled last year, but had a really strong spring training, so another year older, another year wiser, and I like the overall profile that he brings with the bat. And defensively, Ke'Bryan Hayes is fragile. It's still one of our better hitters on the team. He's been, really good for us, although the contract's getting a bit weighty, and so is the age and the injury-ness that he's been dealing with. Edwin Arroyo's been rock solid at shortstop, one of the best trades we've ever made. Really fleeced Boston, ultimately looking back. James Wood is a borderline guy. Really got to have a strong year, James Wood does. Got to come out of the gates pretty hot, because he's been kind of like Brock Wilken, where the power plays well, but you get, average to below average contact and below average avoid Ks. Not that strong defensively. Listed as a first baseman who'll play in left field for us. Nick Dial had a really strong spring and had a good end of the year last year to bring up some of these numbers. And so I'm excited about Nick Dial and really his first season here. And then RJ Schreck is a guy that has always been just okay for us, but he's hit decently. Had a 108 WRC plus in 28 and 112 in 27. So overall, the bats played well enough. And at DH, a trade acquisition close to the deadline last year in Tabor Fast, a captain who should hit for a solid amount of power and a good average as well. Backups here quickly of note. Let's give it up here for Drew Milas, we'll call it. This is a guy that has been in the minor league system for a while. He came up in 2023. We're in 2029. Started 9 games, and he's just been chugging along in the minors. Now 31 years old, but he has made his first ever opening day roster. There's one guy, Cade Arambide, who's going to come up probably sooner than later, but Milas or Milas, we'll figure it out. He'll get the nod here for a job well done. Horbit Vivas is going to be a semi-utility infielder, not great defensively, but the bat is strong, and I just did not want to expose him to waivers. And in center field, Fahisan Mu. I don't know exactly if I'm saying that right, probably butchering that terribly. He had a nice year in 28. He can play all 3 spots, pinch run, and so he is going to be the backup. They call him Varn, so we'll call him Varn as well. Pitching staff, not a significant amount of change to it. Christopher Cruz will be our starter, our ace as always. Dylan Questad, who was in AAA, he got hurt. That was the guy that had gotten hurt. It's been a little bit since I played this game. Yeah, he tore his rotator cuff last May, and so luckily seems to be okay. It was Dylan Lesko who kind of scuffled a bit after a really strong, rookie campaign. So hopefully he bounces back, and we'll see how things go for him. And then Luis Savita, who's going to be a free agent after this year. He wants a ton of money. He's fragile. Don't think we can afford that. He may have added a slider as well. I don't know if he had that before or not. Does it say anything in here in the scouting report? Not seeing anything there. Have to check that. But he's been fantastic for us. So the pitching staff looks strong overall. Number 5 is maybe a little weak here in Luis Ortiz, although Ortiz did well in 11 starts this past season. We had a guy that I've been high on in Trey Duffield that I wanted to occupy that number 5 role. But as you guys see here, in March 14th, really the only injury of note that we suffered, he tore his rotator cuff. And so that's a guy that I was hoping to be number 5. He will not, but we got guys in the minors I'll show here really briefly. Sal Ramos, one of our better prospects. He's fragile, so we're going to be careful with him, but I do like him. And someone else who should be a starter, I don't know, is he in AA? Let me figure this out here quickly. All right, I guess we're going to start him in AA. I suppose that's fine. He's 22. One of our off-season signings. He was a international guy from Venezuela, and so we signed him. Dave Respigli, we'll say. This guy looks really promising, and OSA seems to be fairly high on him as well, and so got him for a song and a dance. And so this guy could come up sooner than later. So that's going to be the starter still. Let me check out the Pirates bullpen. And generally, it's going to be a host of familiar names. I need to probably assign some roles here, and Juan and Charles, and Nick Robertson, Nick Mears, who has been fantastic, Alberto Guerrera, former waiver claim, Ryan Hendricks we acquired last year. We love our hard-throwing righties, that's for sure. You see Feliz acquired in that Gonzalez deal, Beck Way, who has really come on strong, Asa Lacy in more long relief, and a lefty, and then kind of our lefty quote-unquote specialist in Denny Bentley. So going bullpen heavy here. I like to be bullpen heavy to keep the pitch count down for the starters, and just because there is the DH, probably less of a need to have a quality bench. Finally, before we get to opening day, we'll do a quick check-in on our top prospects in the system. According to the game, Jose Pena is our best guy, who has some really good pairing of home run power in the eye and defensive capability. Although he's 21 and still has a long ways to go. Victor Demos was a scouting discovery. Those guys are always kind of lottery tickets, but we'll certainly take that. Same with Bill Frosto, last year's international free agent signing in terms of actual prospects who got some teeth to them. Tony Luces is the guy we've talked about for quite some time. He's in AA, will start the year in Altoona, so he's getting closer, and that could really be a key Brian Hayes replacement as early as next year. And Luis Morales is a guy that I've been high on for a while as well. They call him Speedboat for that great speed. Also with the contact and gap. The home run power will never be there, but he's a line drive hitter who can field his position only at second, though. But this is a guy that has been raking through the minor leagues, and he could be a call-up, say, sometime in June or July. With the pitchers mentioned earlier, Sal Medina. Actually, I think it was Sal Ramos we looked at. Medina's down there in A-ball right now. Another really strong pitching prospect. And Respigli and Ramos round out our top 3 pitching arms. All right, we'll take you out opening day at Wrigley Field. We are playing the Chicago Cubs, and we'll take a quick look at their lineups. Nico Hoerner, Michael Conforto, Tim Anderson, Rafael Devers, Jesse Winker, I should say, Torres out there in third, Alcantara in left, Pete Crow, Armstrong, love the name, in center, Torrens as their catcher, and the pitcher is a tough one for sure, Jake Kubler. Finesse pitcher, but has incredible stuff and led the NL in Ks last year. So that's going to be tough there. For us, the lineup will be Shrek, Cabrera, Ramirez, Fast, Hayes, Dial, Arroyo, Wood, Blasters, and of course, Christopher Cruz on the bump. So let's take you out to Wrigley for opening day 2029. All right, welcome back to Pirates Baseball, as the real Pirates and real MLB about ready to get started here for opening day in just a couple of weeks. Glad you guys are back with us for 2029. Apologize there for the delay that we had, but the Pirates are back and facing the Cubs, and what a great way to start the first game of the year as Shrek down the line and right, just inside the foul line. That'll be caught by the right fielder Conforto, so allowed out number 1 to start the season. Ricardo Cabrera, and Rule 5 pick, really did not have a strong year last year, was injured for part of the season. He will start the year with a K to bring up Ramirez, the power in that bat, 2-2 count, and he looks at strike 3, and Kubler has that great stuff as he strikes out 2 to start the season. Christopher Cruz will face Nico Hoerner. Cruz, who won Cy Young, but not Rookie of the Year back in his rookie year, of course, strikes out Hoerner. And so it's always those great pitching battles to start the year, as Cruz will walk Conforto. That'll bring up Tim Anderson, who, how old is Tim Anderson at this point? 35, but still going strong, coming over from Toronto. 2-2 count, and he swings through it on the fastball. Velocity might be down at 91 for Cruz, although he's never been known as a great flamethrower. And that one's going to be hit to center. Dial going back. He can't make the catch. Conforto will take third. It'll be a single as Conforto is hurt. Not sure why he slid in there. I guess wasn't sure on the throw. The leg injury, and so Conforto will have to come out. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Alec Burleson will come in. He's been up and down with the Cubs. Kind of a 4A type player. So Jesse Winker, the X-Red, trying to put the first run on the board. 0-2 count. Cruz looks to Lasters, and this one is hit well to left. Going back, and the catch is made. Scared me off the crack of the bat there. That one might find the gap. James Wood, not great defensively, but that one had loft, and the wind is blowing in at 11. That probably helps that. Certainly helps it. So scoreless, we'll go top 2. Tabor Fast coming over from Arizona in the Jared Jones deal, one of our pitching prospects that just never quite could find his groove. Our Tyler Glasnow, you could say, in terms of this universe of the Pirates. He grounds out to Hoerner. Now Hayes, the veteran, one of the few guys from the original team when we began this series. Maybe the only one left, because Reynolds is gone. I don't know if anyone else is left. And Dial with a loud shot to left. That one is going back at the track and gone. You can light the candle. Nick Dial, just talking about this guy breaking out the back half of last month or so, after a stint in AAA Indianapolis. Had a great spring and 375 feet to start his season. And the Pirates go up 1-0. Dial replacing Reynolds and had some questions last year, but that is a great start to the new year in 2029. Arroyo grounds out to third, but the Pirates on the bat of Dial go up 1-0. Now Torres, the ex-Yankee, will look at strike 3 on the off-speed. That one caught the outside. Lasters framed it well. Now Alcantara, little loft can of corn into left. Wood coming in and makes the catch, calling off Dial. 2 nice catches for Wood so far, who can field the position pretty well. He's a big guy, 6'6", 245. So that's just a concern there is Pete Crow Armstrong, and that one will be caught by Ramirez. So we'll go top 3, Pirates up 1-0. It'll be Wood, Lasters, and then top of the order with Shrek. So James Wood has to have that hot start. The bat has to play well. Full count at 1, maybe a bit outside, but Kubler strikes out Wood. And so Lasters coming over, and a deal from Washington was great in the minor leagues last year. New catchers with Joey Bart and Jacob Stallings both hitting free agency. Actually, I think we traded Bart. I forgot to show that for something relatively minor. And then Stallings did not want to come back, and so he is, of course, gone. Shrek, who flied out to right, his first at bat, will look at strike 3 on the check swing, and so quick work there for Kubler. And so Torrance, the 9-hitter, the catcher, will face Cruz. And this one's hit well to right. Dial going back, and that one is to the ivory in center. And the throw a little offline, and it'll be a leadoff double for Torrance. It'll bring up Horner, 0 for 1 today. And this one's going to be hit well as Dial racing over in right center. He'll make the catch. Torrance will test, and he will slide in safe just ahead of Dial's throw. And so the tying run 90 feet away, with Burleson replacing Conforto, who was hurt sliding into third in the first inning it was. So 1 out, 1 on, 2-2 count. And this one is popped up. No threat to run, as Ramirez will call off Lasters. A little easier for him to make the catch as opposed to Lasters trying to look up behind him. And so Cruz trying to strand the run. It's Tim Anderson, the veteran, on a 1-0 count. And this one's hit to right. And the fielder's coming in, and that'll make the catch for Shrek. Nice job there. And so Cruz dances around the leadoff double, and we'll go top 4. Pirates still up a run. Cabrera will lead things off in the 2 spot to face Kubler, and one of the NL's best. And this one's going to be rocketed past short and the diving third baseman. So a leadoff single for Ricardo Cabrera to bring up Ramirez behind 0-2, and he'll swing through it for a strikeout. 1 out, 1 on. Top 4, Pirates up 1-0 thanks to the Nick Dial solo home run. Tabor fast. It's going to hit this well to right. It will drop in at the right fielder's feet. Runner will not go. Cabrera halts at second. But 2 on, 1 out for Hayes. And he looks at strike 3 inside corner on the changeup. And so it'll be up to Nick Dial, responsible for the only one of the game so far. And so Dial trying to go 2 for 2. Full count, payoff pitch. Runner should go. And it'll be a walk. And so Kubler will walk the bases loaded. And so now the shortstop, Edwin Arroyo Jr. Big spot here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Top 4. Pirates up 1-0. Can he break this one open? And he's going to hit this well to center, but right at the center fielder, Pete Crow Armstrong. And so a loud out number 3, and we'll go bottom 4 as the Cubs look to tie the game. And so Devers, former Red Sox. Let's look at his career so far. I can look at just the major league level. Spent 2 years in Baltimore, and then now going on year 3 in Chicago. Been a fine player, not a great one, but better last year than he was in his first season with Chicago. Full face Cruz, 1-2 count. Here's the pitch, and he strikes out swinging. And so Cruz, 4th K of the day. Winker, 1-2 count. Hit this one to center. Dial going in. He can't make the diving catch right at his feet. So it'll be a leadoff single for Jesse Winker to bring up Gleyber Torres. 0-2 count. This one gets away, skips past Lasters. I'm going to call that a wild pitch, though. That one apparently outside from Cruz. And so the Cubs will try to threaten again. But Torres still behind the count. 1-2. And he strikes through it again on the curveball. And it's Cruz mixing up pitch speed and location well today, but has to get the third out here against Alcantara, who's 0 for 1 today. 2-1 count. This one hit to center left and going back, and that one is gone. 2-run shot for Kevin Alcantara. I'm getting distracted by the Penn State game. If anyone's watching March Madness right now, as Texas just beat Penn State. I was trying to watch the final seconds, and so I'm trying to do too much here, and so my vocal skills are worse than usual. And it's always difficult to see the Cubs go up a run here, 2-1 on the home run by Alcantara. And so Cruz trying to bounce back here against Crow Armstrong. This one lofted to left, Wood under it, and he'll make the catch. But Chicago gets 2 off the home run, and they take a 1-run lead as we go top 5. James Wood will lead things off. He's 0 for 1 today. I think he might have a walk as well. Shift is on. That'll be hit to right. And caught for out number 1 by Burleson. As Lasters looking for that first career major league hit. We'll just take a quick look at him. Last year in Double-A, hitting .265 with a 119 OPS plus. A very good number there. But facing a tough pitcher. This one hit solidly to center, but Crow Armstrong will take a step in and make the catch for out number 2 to bring up the lefty Shrek. Got a good mix of lefties and righties in this lineup. Shrek will dribble this to second, throw to first, and the Pirates go 1-2-3 as we go bottom 5. Chicago still up 2-1. 57 pitches for Christopher Cruz. Just allowed that home run, just that one mistake pitch. And this one's hit well to right. Dial looking at it, and he will make the catch for the first out. Horner up to bat here. Burleson on deck. This one roped to third. Hayes has it, and a nice strong throw over to Ramirez. And this is quickly 2 away. 1-2 count. Shift to the right for the Pirates infield, but does not matter. Strikes him out inside. And so Cruz bouncing back. Cubs, though, still lead 2-1. And the Pirates offense never been a strength here. Have to get some runs with Ricardo Cabrera leading off the top of the 6th. Does have a single through left to start. And he'll try it again. And this one in the hole. Shortstop able to make the play. Nice job there by Nico Horner. And so Ramirez over 2. Kubler still in. Ramirez hits this one well to right. Crow Armstrong making his way over to his left, and he'll make the catch for out number 2. Kubler sitting there at 75 pitches. We'll see how far he goes here on opening day. As Tabor Fast comes in, this one bit outside. Fast reached for it, and a busy inning of work for Crow Armstrong to make the catch. And so Pirates bats going cold here. Cruz sitting at 64 pitches. Want to be mindful of that count here so early in the season. As Anderson hits this one to left. Wood coming in. He'll make the catch in shallow left for out number 1. Devers 1 for 2 today. Full count. That one inside. And so the second walk of the day for Christopher Cruz to bring up Jesse Winker. And Winker's going to hit this to left. Wood coming in with a great diving catch. That big frame of his. And a big man moving. That's a key out there. And now Cruz tries to finish the inning off with Torres. 1-2 count. This one hit well to third. Hayes has it. And a nice grab and a nice throw from Hayes to Ramirez. And so we'll go top 7. Pirates still down 2-1. As Cruz sitting at 78 pitches for opening day. That's probably going to be enough for him, as we'll look to get the bullpen moving and shaking. And we're going to go with Charles, Wanderson Charles, I think, to replace Christopher Cruz. As Ke'Bryan Hayes will try to do something here against Kubler, at least try to get that pitch count up a bit. 2-1 count. And Hayes, a floater, pretty shallow, stays on the infield dirt. And Torres has it for out number 1, really trying to chase Kubler to get to that bullpen. It's just such a tough guy to deal with, although Dial has gotten him once today with the home run. 1-2 count. The pitch. And Dial swings through it on the slider. So Arroyo trying to do something, a little 2-out magic. Full count, at least runs that pitch count up. But he will meet the same fate on the strikeout. 10 Ks for Kubler. Although that may be it for him. He's getting close to 100 pitches. Christopher Cruz, we're going to close the book on him. Bring in Wanderson Charles. Still overall 6 innings of 2-run ball for Cruz. Not bad overall. The home run does smart. And so Alcantara, the man who hit the home run off of Cruz, good time to pull him. And that'll be a strikeout. A little redemption there for this Pirates pitching staff. Pete Crow-Armstrong, busy defensively. Can he be busy offensively? No, he cannot. As Charles making quick work as the ball is thrown around the infield. And then Torrens, who has a double today. Looks like he'll be first pitch swinging and then hit sharply in the hole. Arroyo to Ramirez. And it's 1-2-3, go the Cubs. We'll stretch. Actually, we stretched before, but do some more stretching and we'll go top 8. Jake Kubler staying in 93 pitches. They're going to push their ace, who had a great start to the season. That's no surprise, facing... Oh, should James Wood face Kubler? Should there be a replacement? Let's see how he is against righties and lefties. Better versus righties. So we'll keep Wood in and try to hope for a big pop here. 1-0 count. Again, shift on heavily. That one is hit to right, and a diving catch by Burleson. Don't know if the older Conforto makes that play. So you can see that shift. I don't know how much Burleson was moved over. That's a great job there for out number 1. Now Lasters 0 for 2. Falls behind. But no doubles. The corner infielders right there on the lines. And 11 Ks for Kubler. Just can't figure this guy out. RJ Schreck has to do it. Pirates running out of chances. 1-2 count. And he will, like before, can't hold this swing. And it's 12 Ks for Kubler. Will he go the distance? As Charles will stay in. I'm going to get the bullpen moving in case with Ryan Hendricks. Face the top of the order in Horner, Burleson, and Anderson. The law firm sounding name. And as it's a full count, that one inside, bit of a jam shot. Horner swung on it though. And Trek makes the catch. That should have been ball 4, but we'll call it out number 1 instead. Burleson stepping in. Shift on to the right. That one hit into the shift. As a nice job there by Cabrera to snare it and throw to Ramirez. And so Tim Anderson 0 for 3 today. 2-0 count. And looks like somebody's on the field. And somebody's going to spend the night in Cubs jail, which I assume exists based on how old Wrigley is. I don't know if I've seen that before. But anyway, we'll do a nice job there by Charles to retire the side in order on that ground ball. And we'll go top 9 as the Pirates need a run down 2-1. New pitcher coming in as Jake Kubler's day finally done after, I don't know, Baker's dozen number of strikeouts. Cody Hewer will come in, was fantastic. Look at these numbers from last year after a bumpy 2027. 2028, a 1.20 ERA, a whip of well under 1, an ERA plus of 350. Absurd stuff there. He had to have won an award or something. Yeah, he was only 3rd in reliever of the year. My goodness, who were the 2 guys better than him? And so it will not get much easier as it's Cabrera, Ramirez, and Fast. And we'll make a change here with maybe Corbett Vivas, potentially. Let's check on Hewer. Is he better versus lefties or righties? He's not quite as good against lefties, and so we'll try to play the numbers here. and bring in... Although I'm worried about maybe some of the strikeout potential, although now Vivas is really good. Okay, we're going to bring in Vivas, talk myself into it to replace and pinch it for Cabrera. So Vivas has been on and off the roster. On it right now to start, still a 2-2 count. And that one outside chased. And so Vivas, the first out. Pirates down to 2 outs with Ramirez and Fast. 2 power bats need a big swing. Ramirez a good swing, but not good enough. And Crow Armstrong with a great catch. He was playing deep to protect against an extra base hit. And he has the speed and the range to do that. What a couple of great defensive plays in the outfield today. Burleson a couple innings ago off of Wood. Then Crow Armstrong right there. And so last chance, it's Tabor Fast to face Hewer. 1-2 count. The pitch, and he will strike out swinging the Cubs on a home run by Kevin Alcantara. Beat the Pirates on opening day 2-1. And so we'll check the box score. The only runs of the game, only 3 total, both of them coming off of home runs. Nick Dial with a solo shot top second, and then Alcantara off of Cruz in the bottom of the 4th. So final box score here, Pirates 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. Cubs 2 runs on 4 hits and no errors. Let's see, anyone have any 2-hit games? Nobody did. And so it was a strikeout fest. Pirates struck out 14 times. The Cubs struck out 8. And it was a starting pitching duel. And Kubler bests Cruz going 8 strong. Cruz did well, but not quite as good. And of course allowed that home run with the extra man on. Kubler player of the game, and Conforto was hurt running the bases. He's got some calf soreness, but he'll be okay. And so that's where we'll leave things. Pirates start the year 0-1, but hopefully the pitching staff stays strong. The bats play a bit better. Some of this youth we've been developing and working on comes up. And so we'll check in on the Pirates here in a couple of months, and we'll see how the season goes. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you guys could. Would appreciate that. Thank you for watching again, and we'll talk to you soon.